3 years ago, I found out my husband was cheating on me. And I wish I could tell you that I left the first time. I wish I could even say I left the second time, or the third time, or fourth time, but I didn't. I gave him so many chances, and that's exactly why I will never judge the woman who stays. Because until
So I don't condone cheating. And as I previously stated, I believe in God and I'm a Christian. And so I don't condone, either parties, husband or wife. But you need to hear this story because it's actually insane the amount of accountability that she lacks and does not possess. And to this day, she believes in her whole heart that she is a victim. Now, again, the husband's not off the hook either because he's pretty lame for, cheating. And if it gets to that point, you just need to divorce first and leave. But let's hear this story out because this one is crazy.
you're actually in it, you have no idea what you're going to do. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had no income of my own. I had two little kids. One was 2, the other was 10 months old. We sold my car. I didn't even have my own vehicle. My entire sense of security was wrapped up in this marriage. And yes,
So right now you hear is woe is me. Again, the husband should have never cheated. But we'll get to that later. It's just it sounds like she married the paycheck, the nice guy. It's pretty much what he could provide. Wasn't Doesn't really seem like she was physically attracted to him. Like wasn't doesn't even have to be a bad boy. If they say Chad or Tyrone, but clearly married out of, necessity. Well, I'm done having my fun. Who's the nice guy or someone that was perhaps in my friend zone that I can marry and I don't have to lift a finger. Um, so let's just get into it because right now we just have the woe is me narrative.
I still loved him. I wanted my family. I wanted to believe he was sorry because the first couple times, all the other times he came back saying how sorry he was. I wanted to believe his lame excuses and his promises that things were going to change because the alternative was accepting that my entire life was about to fall apart. So I stayed. I forgave. I forgave things I swore I would never forgive. I tried to reconcile over and over. I gave chances I swore I would never give. I wish I could say that I had all the confidence and self-worth to just leave. But that wasn't my story. I didn't finally get this huge burst of confidence and leave him. He actually left me. After everything I had forgiven, after about
Mind you, she was never going to leave him, and like I said, we'll get into that. But it's pretty sad that she's still talking about this 3 years later because clearly I don't know if she realizes her faults and it's just, what was me, but she realizes she can never replace her husband and everything he did for her because, she ruined a good man. I mean, again, that dude should have, husband literally never should have cheated. And it's very unfortunate that that happened to her, but, she is not the 100% victim in this story.
8 months, he sat me down and told me he wanted a divorce. And then suddenly, that same woman who had been terrified, wondering how would I ever survive without my husband, didn't even get a choice anymore. He kept asking me where I was gonna go, pushing me and my children out. He asked me all the time if I needed help packing boxes. Every day it was just like, so what's your plan? Where are you gonna end up going? I had 2 little kids to take after, and during this time, he didn't even want them. Divorce plan, he was going to only see them every other weekend for a few hours. And maybe you're the one who has watched countless women online saying, I would have left the first time, or even watching women who did leave the first time and wondering, what's wrong with you? Am I stupid? Because you did not leave the first time.
One thing I want to point out is unfortunately, but a lot of times I've noticed where women get online and they tell their story. One of the most stupid phrases, my truths. First off, there's only the truth, one truth. You can tell your experience or your opinion, but it ain't my truth, his truth, our truth, the truth. And so that's what she's going on right now. But they always fail to list and name exactly their role and their part. If you were to sit here and believe everything she said, that you would just think that she was this perfect angel and this princess who, no, everything she did, it was just didn't amount to, she wasn't good enough, and she's this helpless, damsel in distress or victim. And a lot of people are getting tired of coming online and hearing this when eventually they're waking up to realize there's two sides of the story.
You are not. Nothing is wrong with you. Leaving a marriage isn't just about leaving a man. Sometimes it's figuring out housing, money, childcare, transportation, your children's whole lives, your entire future, all while you're grieving and your brain is trying to process the fact that the person you trusted most is now betraying you. No, I'm not embarrassed that I stayed for as long as I did. I'm not embarrassed that I loved my husband with all my heart. I'm not embarrassed that I fought for my family. I am proud of myself for what I did after. I did figure it out. I built a life when I did not think I could. I learned how to support myself. I learned that security I was so terrified of losing was something that I could actually give to myself, even when at the time it did not feel that way. If you are in that terrified place right now, please start learning what your options are. Know your finances, know what's in your name, build whatever independence you can, find people you trust, get information, give yourself options, even if you never use them. Because I genuinely believed I could not do this without him. One day I had to. I figured it out, and I know that you can too. I am in your corner because I know what it's like, and it's scary as heck, but you will get through this. That life on the other side is just so much better than you could even imagine right now. So you're not in this alone.
And this is one of the main flaws with, some of these people going on the internet when they just tell their sides, like it's especially, women. It's the mindset, whether they are cognizant or not, believe all women. Again, we see, so how did you do it? Where did you live? Betrayal is the worst. He should be embarrassed. The fact that he could basically abandon his kids for another woman just breaks my heart for you and your kids. I'm so sorry. And it just goes on. And it's unfortunate where, they paint themselves as, this perfect little angel, and they were blindsided. And, no matter what she says, she's not at fault and she didn't do anything wrong. And again, he should have never cheated. And that's something I'll never condone, despite what some, may believe about what a man can and can't do. Cheating both ways around are for losers, if I'm being honest with you. But the comment section is full of just like believing everything that she said without even, wanting to hear, the husband's side of the story. And society itself is, for women, innocent until proven guilty, but for men, guilty until proven innocent. So we'll go to the next clip. Now we're going to get to the main reasons why she was pretty much, again, very unfortunate, cheated on, but he ended up divorcing and leaving her.
I hated intimacy with my husband. I actually dreaded it. I would literally count the days in my head where 3 days kind of felt like a number that kind of felt like too long, so I should probably just go ahead and do it.
Insane. Like, clearly she was never attracted to him. As I said earlier, probably used him or thought of him as the provider and just, as a meal ticket. Like, well, I guess he looks good enough to marry. Not really feeling him by any means. I've had my fun with the bad boys. It seems like he'll take care of me. I don't have to lift a finger, even though I'm looking like Wendy's mascot girl. But the color hair is a red flag already. But it's crazy how she's describing almost as, kind of disgusted. And who as a man wants to hear something like this from your own wife, someone that you vowed to protect? But let's continue.
Every single night, we would get in bed and I would lay there with anxiety because I would feel like he probably wanted it. But even throughout the day, I hated him touching me. Every kiss, every cuddle, every back rub, it would give me the slight anxiety because I felt like it came with an expectation. One time he suggested...
She's describing as if she's going on one of her worst first dates or something. But no, this is her husband that she married. This just goes back to the original video that we played. Again, he shouldn't have cheated, but she clearly has, I don't want to say, disdain or contempt for her husband, but likes what he can provide, but that's about it. She wants to just coast through life, be on easy street, and then if a woman, especially, your wife, is really attracted to you, this shouldn't be a problem. Obviously, it's not saying that should have been every day, multiple times, whatever, but it seems like several months, if not years, that she's felt like this. And I know she said every 3 days or something like that, she reluctantly, would sleep with her husband. But who wants to, fight the world as a man, work 10, 12 hours, if not longer shifts, paying the bills because she was a housewife, being the protector. We as men, we know what we're supposed to do, but when you ask, 100 women, hey, what's a good wife? There is no clear answer. Everyone's emotionally available. They just start throwing out stupid buzzwords that mean absolutely nothing. And if you were to say like, well, you should be, you know, having intimacy with your husband, my body, my choice, and it's like, okay, well, if you want to play that game, my wallet, my choice. Adios. But it clearly she just looked at him as a provider, and I don't want to say beta male, but wasn't attracted to him, so robbed him of marriage. And it's unfortunate he even stayed with her this long. I'm not really sure why. I don't know the whole story. Like I said, we don't know everything. We hear the victimhood narrative from this one, but I would love to hear what he has to say. But let's continue the video.
We did one of those 30-day intimacy challenges and I cried. Another time he bought those like spicy couples card and I literally had a full-blown panic attack. I remember
Wow.
Googling therapists to try and figure out why I felt this way. I remember scheduling doctor's appointments when my libido was so low. I genuinely thought something was wrong with me. I thought maybe it was my hormones, maybe my drive was just broken.
You just weren't attracted to him. She can think of her favorite, actor, R&B artist, rapper, musician, whatever. And if that were the exact same person as her husband, we wouldn't even be hearing this scenario. And it's unfortunate for the guy, but the husband, she just was not attracted to him. That's all it is. So she, doing all this research, traveling the world, traveling the seven seas, trying to figure out what's wrong. You want the comfortable lifestyle, but you don't really want to be like, you wanted the marriage, but not, or you wanted the wedding, but not the marriage. You don't really care to do, you just want to coast by in life. And I mean, you end up getting cheated on.
Maybe I was just one of those women who just did not enjoy intimacy at all. I remember even saying to myself, if I went my whole...
I doubt it. Not trying to dig up her past or anything, but I'm sure that wasn't the scenario with the previous men before your husband.
Entire life never having intimacy, I would be okay with it. For basically 10 years, I was asking myself, what is wrong with me? After our divorce, I became determined to figure this out because I never wanted to bring that into another relationship. After our divorce, I researched, I learned, I just became curious. I bought the toys. I just wanted to figure out and break down these walls of why I felt the way I did. But then...
See, we don't hear that. She's mentioned toys, but we don't hear all the dudes that after the husband. I'm sure there wasn't an issue with whether she was on the dating apps or coworker or whatever. I'm not going to assume anything, but you don't really hear her saying anything that this was ever an issue again with any other men that she was attracted to. But we just want to hear like, and I highly doubt that he was not trying to be an active father. I'm so sick of that narrative where we just have to believe what she says, face value, and the guy's a scumbag. But she just wanted to, sit at home, who knows, watch those garbage reality TV shows, hang out with her friends, and then pretty much live like a roommate when it comes with her husband, like no intimacy. And it's sad because she's clearly dumbfounded. Like, it's actually crazy.
And I realized I don't hate intimacy. I hated feeling emotionally disconnected from the person I was being intimate with. I hated feeling like physical connection was expected while emotional connection was missing. Looking back,
Imagine if the husband hopped on, I just hate the feeling that I have to provide for not just myself, my wife and kids. Like, I don't want to be looked at, wallet object. It's disgusting. So I had to leave my wife. We can go on and on. And men and women would agree you're a loser to have that mindset, blah, blah, blah. But her saying this, you got everyone in the comments, that's what I'm talking about, queen. Your body, your choice, blah, blah, blah. And the reason why I say that, because, again, I'm a Christian. In 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 5, New King James Version, it says, do not prive one another with consent for a time. And pretty much it's just goes on is you shouldn't use sex as something to continually withhold from another. If you're married as a husband, it's not like he can like, okay, you don't want to have sex. All right, what about your coworkers? What about your friends, family man? You know what I mean? And we know that that's what marriage is. You belong to each other. But for him to have to constantly do his duties as a man, and she can just like, I don't want to. Got every excuse in the book. Oh, it's that time of the month. Oh, I have a migraine. Oh, summer solstice. Like, you can come up with anything you want. It's like, wow, you're going to pressure her, and you'll still seem like a loser in society's eyes for wanting intimacy with your own wife, but you have to do everything on your end. And it's no wonder like a lot of men are opting out of relationship marriage. Let's continue.
I felt so emotionally alone for a long time. I didn't feel emotionally pursued. I didn't feel seen.
What?
I didn't feel emotionally safe. And when your heart feels disconnected, your body follows. If I'm being honest, I still do carry guilt over the fact that I wasn't able to give him that part of our marriage. Because I know intimacy matters. A marriage can't thrive when two people feel disconnected. And I own that. But here's what I don't own: his decision to cheat. Because even though I felt emotionally neglected,
So, rare time, but I will agree with her. He should have never cheated. Um, Brother, whoever you are, you should have just, if it was going on for months, years, and no matter what, she just pretty much, you realize she wasn't attracted to you. Divorce is obviously the answer over cheating. That's never acceptable. And it seemed like you exhausted all options, therapy, everything she named, and she just did not want to be with you. So, intimacy wise, so that was the route over cheating. So I wish she didn't do that, but I will agree with her there. I am glad to hear that he left her because this is someone who just wanted to coast on easy street and have all the bills paid and live like a roommate when it comes to intimacy with the husband.
even though I felt lonely inside my own marriage, even though I wasn't getting my emotional needs met, I still did not go looking for another man. I didn't start another relationship. I did not lie. I did not betray my vows. Marriage problems are real. Dead bedrooms are real. Disconnection is real. But when those things happen, you have conversations. You ask for counseling. You fight for your marriage. And if nothing changes, you leave with honesty. You don't secretly build intimacy with someone else. Cheating wasn't something that happened to him. It was a decision that he made. And it wasn't something that I pushed him into. It is not my responsibility to carry the shame and the responsibility of his own choices.
So I agree that he should not have cheated, but I disagree that she is, absolved from any responsibility. Like, who else is he supposed to have it if he's married? And the fact that you just coming on here, with these waterworks, crocodile tears, the men aren't buying it. And I know you're easily, tricking a lot of people in your comment section, like, oh wow, so brave of you to come on here, so strong, queen. It's like, when do we hold women accountable for their actions in marriage? Like I said, you know what is expected as a man in society, especially a husband. Provide, protect, do everything that you need to, put your needs, put your family needs above yours. But when it comes to hers, hey, you know what? So what? It's been 5 years. If she don't want to, sleep with you, oh well, suck it up. But you better be paying for them bills. It's like, I'm opting out. I'm not dealing with this. And so I'm going to play two quick videos. This one I'm not going to play just because there's music. But it says, you're stuck wondering if you still love him after all he put you through. No, you just love what he provided and what he did for you. Staying feels empty, but leaving doesn't feel right either. Yeah, because that would force you to get a job. It's like you're caught in a loop of wanting him, but never really happy. No, you're just wanting, the comfort of, propping your feet up, watching TV and TikTok and whatever else all day. And meanwhile, your husband battling the world at work, paying the bills, make sure you live comfortably. And he came and you said it, you just like clinched up, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like kissing or any type of affection. Come on now. What man wants to go and sign up? Hey, you know what? I'm going to pick this one right here. I get absolutely nothing out of it, but you're going to get all my resources. I promise you that. Yeah, you may have the ick and feel disgusted when look at me or when the intimacy time, but hey, take my money, please. Like, no one's dealing with that.
I saw a girl comment on here that she would have swore that her golden retriever husband would have never cheated on her, and then
First off, I don't even know what a golden retriever husband is. They just got random nicknames and buzzwords for anything going on, but clearly it sounds like her situation where, married to a man, her friend or whoever this person commented, married to someone who she wasn't really attracted to. She had her fun, but it was time for her to settle down, getting later on in, up there in age, and so wanted to have a family. So just wanted to find the nice guy who would provide and take care of everything, and I think the husband had enough. We'll see.
she found out he did, and it made her realize, like,
Crazy.
oh, well, at the end of the day, golden retrievers are still dogs. And wow, that just really hit me hard, because I think a lot of women realize that line between "my husband would never" and "oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that" is like paper thin. And there's so many women have that story of, my husband, I would have never thought he would have done that, and he did.
But what's crazy here is we don't hear anything that led up to it. Again, no matter what, man or woman, I don't condone cheating, especially with my faith and what I believe in. The one and true God. But what's crazy is we just hear, yeah, I was married, he cheated. Okay, what led up to that? Were you also withholding intimacy for months, years, nagging 24/7, complaining 24/7? Though you were a stay-at-home housewife and you didn't have to lift a finger. Not saying, taking care of kids is easy by any means, but seems like he did his best to provide. We just, we're missing a lot of context. And that's what you'll get when you come on, a lot of the social media, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, Instagram, and you just hear the one-sided, what was me stories. Like, yeah, it just caught me off guard. He cheated on me. And that's when I just knew I was married to a narcissist. No, clearly not everyone's a narcissist, but you just have to take these stories with a grain of salt, because it's very unfortunate, but they don't really have, the ones who are coming on here telling these stories seem like they do not possess the ability to look inward and self-reflect, like, well, what did I do wrong? What could I have done? It's just, I was taught from an early age, everything I do is perfect, and so or they'll use, I'm just a girl, and when it benefits them, like, I can do no wrong. If you are ever in this situation, fellas, do not go down the path of cheating. If it was like I do in my other videos, if it was the other way around, and the guy was talking about, oh, he got cheated on because he withheld intimacy, I guarantee you we would see all the comments flooding, from females, as she should. What were you thinking? Not taking care of your queen's needs like that, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to do that here. He should have never cheated. And if you ever get in that situation, it is best to leave and, walk away. Whether they realize their part or not, at least you did your best to provide, protect, and be the best man you can. But, don't cheat. And hopefully this is a wake-up call, a wake-up story for, men and women who are in these situations. Like, look, this can happen. If I think, my wife or my husband will never cheat on me, I can just do what I want. So hopefully this is a learning lesson for those out there thinking that their spouse will never cheat on them no matter what. If you're not getting, respected or, intimacy at your own household, then it's time to leave. Do not cheat. But yeah, very sad story, but a lesson to learn for sure. And if you guys think I missed anything or you guys agreed with anything I said, please let me know in the comment section. I'm trying to, be consistent, making at least one video a day. And I appreciate you guys tuning in to Into the Gray, where not everything is black and white. I will catch you guys next time. Take care.